Now I'm going to be tying a fly that I've never tied before. I've got the dressing here. Basically I was sent dressing and asked if I could tie this fly. Basically it's to be tied on this hook here. Now we get 6 to tie, 3 O's. Now these are the hooks I was sent. So a dressing is basically, I had to dye, this is some white-eared pheasant dyed yellow, and it's the only feather I've got that would tie this size of fly. Now I've got enough feathers to obviously form that. I'll go through the dressing as I go. I'm starting off with a yellow thread. This is just a uni thread 8/0, and on the way down I'm going to tie in a silver tinsel, a fine oval silver tinsel for the tag. This is like equivalent to a small. This just saves bulk tying it on the way down. Just tying it on the side and using this to control the turns as I wind down. Now I have to go no further than the barb of the hook, so I'm just going to take the thread right down to that point. Just be patient. Now you could use a heavier thread, it's entirely up to yourself. And the reason I'm using yellow is because the body is really light. It's yellow, it's a blend of seal's fur. So I'm using 4 colours. Now as I say, I'm not going any further than the barb of the hook, so I'm going to a couple of turns. And then I'm going to bring the thread back up. Then we always make sure and wax the thread at this point. And I'm going to bring it up until just short of the point of the hook at the end. Try and keep this as smooth as possible. Don't know what that is. A wee bit of fluff on my thread, so take it away. Now this is like it's like a Floodtide. It's like a version. There is a D pattern. There's a Floodtide. I reckon this is what this may be the D style. It is a D style fly. Now nice and tight and touching turns with the oval tinsel. Work your way up. And if you're not happy with it, go back. Stay nice and tight. And then make sure you've got it in. The good thing about this is because it's a dub body, you can hide a lot. You don't have to be so fussy. Now what I'm going to do here is just quickly run the thread up so I've got a balance really. Just taking the thread up, keeping this underneath. To that point there. And then tie off. Take the thread back down, ready for the tail. Now the tail is golden pheasant crest and red breast feather from a golden pheasant on top. So I'm just going to get some golden pheasant. Now I'm going to double up on this size. I'm going to use 2 feathers. Obviously 2 the same size. See, there's a nice. These have got the nice red tip that I like to see. Now I'm not going to be too short with this. Make sure the tips are lined up. I'm just going to use my nail just to slightly lower the tail. Just using your nail, press on it against your finger and this will lower it. Take away some of the fluff here. Tie this on. Now what I'm going to do is just make sure these are tight because you're tying 2 stems one on top of the other and they will want to twist away from one another. I'm going to use some of the fibres at the bottom just to catch them in. You can control them better that way. Just check the length, that looks okay. And then I'm going to get this is a golden pheasant skin. I'm just going to get one of the smaller feathers, nice clean feather. Yeah, I'm going to take away the fluff. As I say, we can get away with a lot on this because it's a dub body. Now what I'm going to do here is take out the centre, so I've got a right and a left side. You can either cut it out, or I'm just going to put my nail up against the stem, pinch it away. So we've got a right and a left side. Now I would have this shorter, so I'm just going to set it on top with the natural curve of the fibre going up. I'm not going to be too fussy with it. Let me quick check and see how it looks like. That's fine, that looks okay. Again, I'm just going to quickly run this up. This will help with the taper of the fly. Just big open turns. On the way back down, I'm going to tie in an oval silver tinsel, and a flat tinsel. I'm looking for like a number 16, which is a sort of large. Now I should have one sitting. There we are. And then I've got a large flat tinsel. This one's by Lagerton. Tie this all the way down. And you catch on the oval tinsel. First, just using everything to balance the fly. So I want basically the oval on the bottom side of it and work my way down. Controlling everything. Up against the tail. I'm just going to go up and down a couple of times quickly. This will never pull out. There we are. Now, seals fur I'm using a yellow first. Then I'm going to just basically I'm going to go to like a Sunburst, which is a warmer yellow, then a hot orange, and then a red. So I just then basically start at the back. Oh, sorry, I went ahead of myself there. I'm going to tie in the hackle first. Now the hackle we tie in by the tip. Now there are not many turns in this hackle, so I'm going to make sure I tie in as close as I can to give me an extra half turn. I want some of the longer fibres, these fibres at the back, and then I want to tie in some of the Marabou fibre at the top, the soft fibre. So I'm only going to get to about here, and then the stem gets really thick. So I've got to rush it up, as I say, to the top. Now I'm looking at the front of the hackle myself. Just make sure this is tied in, and then we'll go back to the seals fur. Now, dub it on. Slide it up. Just going to moisten my fingers here a wee bit just to draw back these fibres so I can get it started. Just watch the point of the hook at this. Kind of a bit dangerous at times, so just be careful when you're doing that. Now, I'm just going to work my way up about a quarter of the way. Doesn't have to be exact, but it has to be close, obviously. Just stand back and have a look. You could measure it, but I'm just using my own eyes. So now this is the Sunburst colour. You can see it's a nice warm colour. It's like a mix. And again, we can work our way up. Nice and tight. Tightening the dubbing as we go. Checking the length. It's fine. Then I'm going to the orange. And then we'll finish off with the red. Now this is tied to be fished, so not for show. So it's got to be strong. Nice and tight. Tighten the dubbing. Make sure it's. You don't want it too loose. You could bring some of the dubbing out, but I'm not, it's just going to leave it. And then finish off with a red. A touch more. See the blend, so you're working with your yellow, working your way up. And you get the red. So nice bright red. Now, I don't want it too thick near the head. I want it to taper towards the head, so that if you go too heavy towards the head, it'll lift the wing. So give yourself a room for the wind of the hackle. Obviously think of the head. I'm going to change the thread to black to finish it off, but the yellow is much easier to hide in within the dressing. Now the flat silver tinsel I'm going to bring up, looking round about 5 turns. There we are, across your thread, nice and tight. Make sure you wax on your thread so it doesn't slip. I use scissors to stick them in there and cut that away. Just check. It's okay. Now then I'm going to bring the dyed yellow white-eared pheasant up. Now you could use Marabou if you haven't got this. If I hadn't got this, I'd have probably used the tips of the Marabou. Now I'm going to bring this up as quick as I can, but I'm going to make sure I get a good turn at the back. So I'm winding towards myself all the way up. Now I do want some of the Marabou. Just draw back these fibres. Now remember, you're not winding this to hold the fly together, you're winding it to form a body hackle. So what's going to hold this together is the rib. So we got maybe a wee half turn or so up the top here. You can see the stem getting really heavy. Just work with it, just take your time. Holding it here with my fingers, pinching it. Get in here with a few turns, see how things are sitting. First we can always go back if we're not happy. Making sure there's a few turns, as I say, in there. There is a thick stem, you don't have a lot of feather to work with. Trim that away. Then I'm going to use my nail, I'm going to flatten that stem, really push it tight, tighten it in. And make sure it's as flat as possible. Then a wee quick look at the feather, that looks fine. Now, what I'm trying to do here is just lift these fibres straight out from the body of the fly, and then I'm going to whip the rib up through. It makes it easier, just maybe moisten them a wee bit just to see where they are, especially the fluff, the Marabou-like fibres at the top. And then what we want to do is wind our oval tinsel up and try not catch in there's too many of the fibres. Just follow the silver tinsel all the way up. Just make sure you're well in front. Take your time. Watch this part here, just watch don't catch too many in. Just, if you can rotate your vise like I'm doing here and move the fibres out of the way, make sure you've got enough oval tinsel that you can actually hold it away from these fibres and that you're not catch them as you wind. When you're changing hands it's very easy to actually catch them. This gets a bit dense here, so just make a space so you can come through. Your time. Looks okay. Draw this back at the last turn. A couple of fibres here I've got, just make a space for it. As I say, just take your time. Follow up with the thread. A few turns in there, now wax your thread, it makes it much easier. and less likely for the thread to move or slip. Now what I'm going to do is cut it the oval tinsel away, then I'm going to bare the outer core away from the inner, or the tinsel away, so it goes much flatter, and then trim away. Be quick look and see how it's sitting. Now what we do now is tie in a teal feather dyed red. Now I have a couple of large feathers here, well marked. You're looking for a well marked feather, a reasonable length. I don't want it too short, so don't have a great choice, so I've got to basically use up what I've got here. Get a nice feather here, it's got well marked. Tie this in at the tip, so there's a nice teal. Teal's not the easiest feather to wind on, so just take your time when you do that. Catch it on the side. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to change to a black thread. You're less likely to see the black or the yellow. You don't want to see the yellow when you're winding the red over it, so trim that away. The black thread I'm using is a uni thread in 8/0, but use what you've got. Now then I'm going to wind this. Oh, and you're looking for a length, reasonable length, I'd say fibre. Nice straight turns if you can. Most times I'll wind this hackle a couple of times to get it to sit that the way I want. Now that looks fine. Nice and tight, just a wee quick look. I'm going to check this side. It's okay. Trim this away. Now the wing is the brown turkey tail, as they say. And we tidy this area up. Take the twists out these fibres. Just turn them back around, because when you wind they actually twist up. So just take your time to these twists out. Just using a wee bit moisture in my fingers here just to bring them to sit right. They will, once this fly's fished, it will look really good. So what's the point of the hook when you're doing this? And then, as I say, I'm going to use some, this is brown turkey tail feathers. Now I'm going to take from the side, you could either, doesn't matter, but either side would work. I'm going to take from this side, where it's basically, if you look at the front of the wing, these fibres here, they're curving away and out, which would be normally if you were, most people would ignore, but these feathers are fine. I like these for tying these wings. Now the problem is, sometimes with these turkey feathers, is the tips can be a bit split and broken. Or you get what they call stress marks, but nothing I can do about that. You're looking for a wing. Now you could probably be around about, maybe down the bottom here, it could be 10mm, and it could be 6 or so at the, and less at the tip. That's a nice wing there. Once you're happy, you can trim it away. Now, there's one side, and then get the other side. So basically I've got a right and a left. If you look at that, there's how we're curving away. Now a lot of guys will tie these like opposite way. I mean, I don't. I prefer to tie them as normal wings, because the natural curve of these fibres come away from the fly. I'll show you once it's tied. And this, because of that, they actually swim extremely well. There's a lot of movement at the back end. If you look there, see how they're curving away from one another. Now that's what I like, using up these longer fibres, especially for big flies like this. Just make sure the tips are lined up. Now I want the tips towards the end of the tail. a wee quick loop. And then we tie these on the top, just a pinch and loop. You may have to do it a couple of times. So, see how they're sitting. I'll show you what I mean. Now I'm just pulling them down slightly. At this point you can always move them around. It's quite easy to go back on these feathers. You can see how they're sitting. Just a wee tad high. Now you can help to encourage them to sit slightly lower. At this point you can basically use my scissors here so I can separate them. So you can go back, so you can, or you can grab both ends, slightly bring it down. I'll show you on your side. Go and grab both ends and do that. It's a wee bit lower, but when this is in the water, these come together and the tips of the wings vibrate. Now, I'm going to make sure these are secure because I'm happy with the wing. So I can trim away the waste. Just a nice head on it, down towards the eye, and then come back up. And then quick finish. See how it looks. Now for speed, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, so you can see how the wing, if you imagine the wing, if I press on this slightly, this will lower the wing, and you get this natural, this curve, because the feather's naturally curving away from the feather when the side that you're using, when you tie it in, it's going to naturally curve away from the hook. The movement you get in that's amazing. So yeah, that's the dressing. Quite a nice dressing actually. Bit of work in them, but once you get going it's okay. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to use a fully milled super glue with the brush just to apply a coat. And this will set really hard and quick, and then I'm looking 2 to 3 coats of clear varnish and the fly's finished. There we are. So quite, as I say, quite a nice fly. Nice pattern. As I say, I like this style. When this is, if you ever see this in the water, the wing drops, forms a nice teardrop shape, and it vibrates at the tips, a nice soft fibre this, and it swims with the rest of the fly. So I hope you enjoyed that.